Questions? Question orale. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
When the Prime Minister invoked the Emergencies Act on Canadians, he said it was because police said they needed it. Well, yesterday we found out that wasn't quite true. The RCMP Commissioner clearly stated in committee yesterday that the RCMP didn't request that the Act be invoked and that police used existing legislation to resolve border blockades. Speaker, we cannot trust these Liberals to tell the truth on why they use the Emergencies Act. So will they stop the cover-up, come clean and release all the documents related to Cabinet decisions around the Emergencies Act? Yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as Commissioner Lucky told the committee, the Emergencies Act allowed police to maintain a secure perimeter and refuse entry of individuals travelling to the illegal protest with the intent of participating. It gave police, quote, the enforcement authority to arrest individuals who continued to supply fuel, food and other materials, and it gave police, quote, new powers to compel individuals to provide essential goods or services for the removal, towing and storage of vehicles and equipment. We've now announced the independent inquiry to examine the circumstances that led to the declaration and the measures taken in response. We all look forward to Justice Rouleau's work and the inquiry's answers on this matter.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the problem is the Prime Minister has been spreading misinformation and disinformation about the protest. He called people names, he wedged, divided, and spread misinformation about them. Speaker, those who have nothing to hide nothing. But it's clear this Prime Minister is worried about Canadians hearing the facts. The fact is the Prime Minister didn't have a legitimate reason to use the Emergency Measures Act. It was an overreach, and now he's trying to cover that up and use Cabinet confidence as an excuse. Isn't that the truth, Mr. Speaker?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
The issue seems to be that Conservatives seem really frightened about the fact that there's going to be an open, transparent inquiry into these illegal blockades, these illegal protests that they were continuing to support throughout. Mr. Speaker, Canadians were disrupted in their homes, in their communities, in their places of work by these illegal blockades, and we took the responsible and restrained measures necessary in order to restore order to this country and continue to defend peaceful protests everywhere. That matters, Mr. Speaker, and that's what we're continuing to do.
Here, here. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are struggling every day because of this government's policy, whether it's the cost of living, long lineups at airports, or continued mandates. Canadians are worse off today than they were 6 years ago. Now, Canadians know the Prime Minister doesn't have to go to a grocery store. He doesn't have to pump or pay for his own gas. Canadians know the Prime Minister doesn't have to wait in line at airports. He doesn't have to wait for a passport at a Service Canada office. The Prime Minister simply has no understanding or empathy for Canadians, and because of that, he's doing nothing to fix all of the problems he's created over the last 6 years. Isn't that the sad but real truth, Mr. Speaker?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Over the past 6 years, we've been focused on supporting the middle class and helping those working hard to join it. We've continued to have Canadians' backs with things like lowering taxes on the middle class so we could raise them on the wealthiest 1%. We moved forward with a Canada Child benefit that stopped the Conservatives' practice of sending millionaires checks for their families and instead gave more money to the families who actually needed it. We continue to move forward in increasing supports for seniors, increasing supports for young people, and during the pandemic, Mr. Speaker, we had Canadians' backs. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, every step of the way, Conservatives voted against these measures.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has become a master in the art of disinformation, and it was the RCMP Commissioner herself who demonstrated this clearly in committee. 1, the RCMP never asked for the Emergency Measures Act. 2, the RCMP never asked to have protesters' bank accounts frozen. And 3, in fact, the RCMP learned at the same time as the rest of us that the Prime Minister had invoked the Act. Does the Prime Minister agree that the law was unnecessary and only a political decision?